The new one-shot The Doom and Rocket Raccoon comic is interesting. It goes over them discussing time and the beginning of time. Their dynamic was interesting. Would love to see them interact for just a brief moment in live action.
Well, what is up, everybody, and welcome on in, baby. Welcome on in to another show. I am Josh, and this is your daily dose of the Den of Nerds, baby. We've got a lot of nerdy news to get into today. Superman had a new trailer. It looks terrible. I'm sorry, it looks terrible. We're going to talk about it. It has sparked another crazy debate, another one of my tweets going viral. I can't seem to get away from being at the epicenter of the debate and of the, frankly, fan war that is going on about Superman. I just don't think it looks good. We're going to get into it. We'll talk about it. So that's a thing we'll get into. Disney Plus. Boy, John Boyega seems more and more correct every day. You're not going to Disney Plus me. And it kind of seems like they're not going to Disney Plus basically anybody. We've got new information from data collecting analytics reporter Luminant. Fascinating data to go over with regard to the 2024 Marvel and Star Wars and Percy frickin' Jackson shows. It's fascinating. So we're going to go over that. Actually, there's a lot to get into with regards to that data. I feel a little vindicated in some of the commentary that I've had over the past couple of years, but we will get into it. We'll go over it. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I might have been wrong about this one. A whole bunch of us might have been wrong about this as well. The buzz on this show is actually incredible. They put out a new trailer that looks great, but the animation for this show is still a big question mark for myself and a lot of other fans. Kind of weird, but credit where credit is due. And also, I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. You know, it looks like Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man may well be a banger. So we have to get into that. We have to talk about Daredevil Born Again. The showrunner has been making comments, and honestly, they're all over the place. Some of the comments have some fans upset, talking a little bit of shit on the original Daredevil series. What's up with that? But some of the other comments are weird. Super based, in fact. No She-Hulk? Wait till you hear what this guy said about She-Hulk. Fascinating. So I want to get into that, talk about the Daredevil Born Again discussion. And then I want to end today's show by watching a very popular YouTube video that's being passed around the Marvel fandom right now. It's all about Captain America Brave New World and how all the stuff people have said about that film is wrong. The reshoots, wrong. The budget, wrong. Sam is Cap, wrong. And so I want to watch this video, break it down with you guys, and kind of just share my opinion on it. I haven't watched it. I don't know if the claims made in the video are real as far as I understand them. So perhaps I'll give a little bit of pushback to that video, but I do want to end today's stream off watching that. Now, a couple other things we need to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. You're either watching this show right now live in real time, or you're watching it on the replay, or you might be watching it / listening to it on a podcast feed. That's right. We're taking all of the Den of Nerds content and putting it out on podcast feeds. And as such, there has to be a couple of changes to the way we do things over here. So, mods, Nerdvengers, members that are watching the stream and the live chat right now, I need you to relay to the people that watch the show that we're not going to be taking super chats or going over fan question stuff until the end of the stream. We're saving all that stuff for the end of the stream. I'm not saying we're going to permanently keep it this way, but for now, it's one of those changes, one of those things that we have to do for the sake of this show being watchable and being rewatchable and being digestible on podcast platforms, I cannot get distracted by all your weird, ridiculous ass comments in the chat until later on in the stream, and then we'll get totally distracted by them. Also, if you are watching this or listening to this on a podcast feed and you want to ask me a specific question or give me pushback on a particular topic or just be a part of the conversation in general, you can come over. We do this show live on Twitch and on YouTube, 11 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. So if you're listening to it on the podcast feed and you're like, man, I got to give this Josh guy a piece of my mind, come on over. You can do that on the live streams and the live chat as well. Man, hope you guys are doing well out there. Monday, start of a new week. I'm feeling really good. Couple of things going on before we get into the news. Let me blurb a little bit about life. Had a really good weekend. I don't know if you guys had a good weekend. I had a really good weekend. A lot of relaxation, a lot of work. I got a lot of stuff done for the channel. I also got a lot of stuff done for the coming podcast, the Nerd Hammer podcast that I'm doing with Nerd of the Rings. Very excited about some of the updates regarding that. I didn't watch the football games. I'll be real. I did see, obviously, that the Superman trailer came out, and that was pretty crazy. So we'll get into that. But Chiefs, Eagles, that's going to be super fun. I mean, I think the whole world is actually rooting for Philly, which is wild because that's actually not an experience. As being somebody that lived in Philadelphia for 7 years, that's not a feeling they're used to. Usually the whole world is not rooting for Philadelphia. So that's going to be fascinating. We'll see if the Eagles can get it done. They will, of course, be playing against the Kansas City Chiefs and seemingly the referees and ownership and management of the NFL as well. Crazy stuff going on there. But I had a good weekend. I hope you guys had a good weekend too. And then as far as show notes for this week, the only thing I can really think of is Wednesday night at 7:30. We're going to be doing our members only stream. These are the streams we do every week just for paying members here, either on Twitch or on the live channel here. And this week marks the first deep dive of 2025. We are going to be deep diving on the Charles Soule Daredevil run, which saw the creation of the Muse character. A lot of cool stuff from that run is going to be in the new Daredevil show. These streams are honestly great. Probably be several hours Wednesday night, really getting into the weeds, watching other videos and breaking stuff down with regards to that entire Daredevil run. So if you are a member, you're definitely going to be there for the stream on Wednesday, or you can watch on the replay. And if you are not a member, you might want to think about that shit. We put some really dope content behind that sort of paywall. Every Wednesday, we're hanging out with the members. And these deep dive streams tend to be really informative, really fun. So I'd highly recommend checking that out if you can. All right. Shall we get in to the news? And I guess the place to start with is Superman? Superman making big news again. Let's get this pulled up for you. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about Superman. So, we got a new Superman trailer over the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And this was done because of the big games, national championship games for both of the conferences in the NFL, deciding who was going to be in the Super Bowl. It's a super big deal. Big weekend for that kind of stuff. And we got a new teaser trailer. And I don't know, man. It kind of seems like at this point, they can't put out a piece of marketing material for Superman without there being some kind of a pushback, without there being, at the very least, a very loud portion of the internet being upset or dissatisfied with what Gunn is doing with Superman, okay? All the way back to the first look, right, of Superman pulling on his underwear while the city is destroyed behind him in that ridiculous first look at the Superman suit. It just on and on and on. Even the first trailer itself, the teaser trailer for the trailer, I truly believe that every single piece of marketing or promotion for this film has been met with a divided audience, okay? And I don't think this one is any different. Now, I specifically, right, have on the screen right here a moment from the trailer that has caused yet again another one of these massive fan conversations. And I seem to find myself always at the center of these sort of things, probably because of, you know, my history with gun, etc. So here it is, a flip shot at the end of the trailer. And I mean, I don't know how else to say this. This looks horrible. You know, I think it looks horrible. If it had looked a little less horrible, I would not have made this tweet. I would not have made commentary about this shit at all. Just would have been like, okay, another Superman trailer. And yet, I don't know, man. This movie just can't stop looking really fucking bad, in my opinion. Okay? So I've got a lot of things to say about this. Like, I guess, first of all, I think the Superman movie doesn't look good. And I guess I'm sorry that I have eyeballs, because it seems to really upset people when I point out that I don't think this movie looks good. From the very first impression of the suit, to the teaser trailer for the trailer, to the trailer itself, to this, I continue to say it looks cheap, uncanny, and weird. The shot looks weird, dude. And it's crazy to me how many people either don't see it or are gaslighting themselves into believing that they don't see it. And it's like, you would think with enough people on the internet voicing a particular opinion, because I'm not the lone voice in the room that is saying this looks bad, you would think that with a lot of people saying the same thing, that it looks bad, that even if you don't think it looks bad, you would be able to acknowledge that, wow, there's a portion of people out there that disagree with me and think this actually looks bad. Therefore, this is a bit divisive. This is, the fan base is divided on this. These all feel like perfectly fair and normal things to say. And yet, I don't know exactly why, but the discourse around Superman is so weird. It's so weird. It's like you have this big army of James Gunn glazers and maybe even people that are just so upset that there's like baggage from the Snyderverse, or that there's baggage from James Gunn's tweets and his jokes that got him fired or whatever. It just feels like people can't accept that this movie might just not look great, and that there's a whole portion of the fan base that is not excited about this movie based on the way that it looks. Okay? So it's not like everybody thinks it looks bad, because there are people that think it looks fine. The wildest take I saw, by the way, this is a take that I just, like, I sometimes can't believe the world in which we live in. And this take right here is one that's like really pushing me towards that illogical, what the fuck kind of world do we live in kind of conclusion. The wildest take is so many people saying, I don't care that it looks bad. Like, literally. Like, oh, it looks bad, CW this, that. Am I the only one who doesn't care? What are you saying? It's okay that this movie looks weird AF? What a weird take, man. You know? Now, if you're saying to me, oh, this will look better, they have 6 months to complete this and make it look better, that's fine. That's cope that I can at least get behind, where I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, maybe they can make it look much better by the time it comes out. But right now, it looks fucking weird, dude. It looks weird. I'm sorry. This is a huge trailer for very popular football games, major marketing material, and it looks like this. It's so weird. It's like some fucking face swap thing. Literally the thumbnail, which was kind of made in combination with one of the Nerd Ventures, and I did some touch-up work on it. It's a meme, and it literally looks better. It looks less uncanny than what they have put forward for their actual massive budgeted Superman film. Okay? So I had to start here because it just seems like I can't give any form of commentary about Superman, especially in the negative realm, without it becoming a fucking thing and it blowing up on the internet in a really weird way. I mean, this thing is almost at 400,000 views. It'll probably do much more. And the amount of discourse, angry people in my comment section, angry people DMing me, angry people tweeting this or quote tweeting me or whatever, it's crazy. Now, I think part of that is inorganic, right? I've explained this before, but when the Superman trailer came out, I got a little taste, the actual trailer. I got a taste of how artificial this fan war is. And what I mean is, I know some of my tweets, maybe even this tweet itself, this isn't organic traffic. Like, this thing is not organically blowing up to this level. I truly believe and suspect that Snyder bots or, anti-gun people on the internet are boosting my shit, which makes sense. I'm sort of intertwined in this whole thing now because of, my situation with gun. And so these posts are getting artificially boosted. But so is the hate that we got on the Superman trailer reaction, the hate that we got to the Superman trailer reaction stream. That shit's not real either. I can tell. I work with my YouTube analytics like every day, so I know what's what. So once again, I'm in the middle of this like bot thing where like James Gunn and his bots and his glazers are on one side, and the Snyder Cut, their bots, their glazers are on the other side. And it's just fucking crazy because all I'm trying to do is do what I always do. Just give commentary to a coming superhero movie, right? And this superhero movie looks fucking bad. Like, I don't know what else to say. The movie might be good. But to be honest with you, I'm so fucking sick of having to like tiptoe around this issue and always give an explanation of like, well, the movie could be really good. Man, fuck you. This movie looks like shit. It looks like dog doo-doo that was poured out of some... I don't want to finish that sentence. It looks really fucking bad. Terrible. Ass. Okay? And I'm sick of having to tiptoe around it just because James Gunn clapped back with me on Twitter one time and a bunch of fucking bots boosted or try to hit my shit at every turn. Jesus Christ. Now, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that I think is really important to point out. Could this movie look much better? Yeah. Hope it does. This tends to prove, in my opinion, that Jeff Snyder's comments and reporting about how the VFX for this movie are a goddamn disaster, it seems to me that he might have been onto something. It seems to me like Jeff Snyder's reports that not just the movie, but the entire studio that Gunn is running is in shambles. I don't know. He might be onto something. I mean, when they're putting out massive promotional pieces like this and it looks this bad, oh yeah, no, they've got some issues. They certainly have some issues. And could it be fixed? Yeah, sure. They've got 6 months and I think they can fix it. But for now, this movie looks bad. The visuals look bad. The cinematography looks bad. And that's just what it is, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm so sick of this stupid movie and the stupid discussions about the movie. It again, it's so frustrating to just get out there and say, like, you know what? I have eyeballs. There are things I like. There are things I don't like. Guess what? This super uncanny, cross-eyed, Woody-looking motherfucker face that you face swapped onto this bullshit shot of Superman flying through the snow, it doesn't look good. That's what it is. Shit doesn't look good. And another thing that I want to say before I just move on from this topic, I didn't decide to make DC a divided fan base. I didn't decide to fracture that fan base, and I damn sure didn't decide to do Gunn's stupid maneuver of announcing a 10-year plan of a reboot 2 years before he would even start. And I damn sure didn't bring out every single DCEU actor, bring them into a room with Peter Safran, fire them, and then have them post their shit on social media in like a week's sequence. I didn't decide to start hitting back on scoopers and fucking trade reporters to start trying to control the narrative to a point where now, 2 years later, everybody knows not only was I right, but Gunn is a massive fucking liar. I didn't decide any of that stuff. That is the bed that he made. That is where the fan base is at. I didn't do this. So what should I do instead? Just stop commenting on Superman? just stop saying what my eyeballs are telling my brain? Nah, fam. That's not how we're doing it over here. If they want me to be more positive about Superman, it has to start looking better. And if it does, I will give it full credit. And if the movie is dope, I will give it full credit for that as well. But every single time something like this happens with Superman, it blows up, and not in the way that I think any board member of Warner Brothers desires. I don't think this is what any investor into the Superman movie desires. Frankly, I don't think this is even what James Gunn desires. But this is what is happening every single time. It is ridiculous. The movie has to succeed, in my opinion, in spite of this guy. And that's no way to do business. So, look, man, I mean, sure, did it some vitriol come out? Am I a little bit annoyed? Absolutely. But it is what it is, man. This is what is going on. And frankly, I think the Superman movie looks really bad. And I wonder how much better it will actually look when we finally get to the film. But for now, it does not look good. Okay? That is the take, as it were. Okay. So that was nice. Nice and chill. A nice little chill segment about Superman. Love it. Can't wait. Can't wait for Superman. Oh, man, that shit's going to be so cool. All right, let's pivot. Let's talk about some other stuff that's absolutely insane. So, Disney Plus. We've all heard of Disney Plus at this point, which I suppose is impressive. Ultimately, I mean, it was a brand new streaming service. We weren't really sure how it would all end up, how it would go. And that's why I think some of the information we're about to go over here is, quite frankly, fascinating. So I'll try to move this down here so that you guys can really absorb what we're talking about here. So you've probably seen in the last couple of days, you've probably seen some people commenting, chiming in on Disney Plus and their numbers in 2024. So check this out, man. This is coming from Luminant. And, you know, we've actually discussed Luminant a little bit in the past. Luminant is trying to establish itself as the new Nielsen, or at least on the level of Nielsen. They are an analytics company, okay? And one of the reasons we discussed Luminant is because they were one of the only people that was calling how bad the Accolade views were. And this is before Samba, this is before Patriot Analytics, this is before Nielsen. I remember sharing data online, and this was only in like episode 4 or 5, and Luminant basically had all this data and said, it's pretty much Jover for the Accolade. It's never going to reach these other shows. It'll likely be canceled. This was before the show was even over. They have been proven correct on that. Disney literally canceled that shit. So, big scope picture here. Let's talk about some of Luminant's findings when it comes to Marvel and Star Wars and basically just Disney Plus in general. So this is kind of interesting here. They say streaming franchises struggle to regain momentum. While franchises continue to be key drivers of engagement on streaming, 2024 saw diminishing returns for some of the biggest properties on television. Both 2024 live-action Marvel TV series Echo and Agatha All Along underperformed 2023 Marvel series Loki Season 2 and Secret Invasion. And the second season of Prime Video's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, saw a 60% decrease in total. By the way, small side note, I was in a meeting last week with my manager and with Matt from Nerd of the Rings. And we were discussing the new Warhammer podcast because, spoiler alert, Warhammer is the next big thing and we're going all in on that shit. But Matt said in that meeting that he believed that Rings of Power had a 50% decrease in viewership in season 2. And I thought that was nuts. I was like, wait, what? Turns out it's even higher, 60%. That's crazy. Okay, so let's just look at this in chart form over here. It's kind of fascinating to see. Rings of Power season 1 in 2022. Holy. Rings of Power season 2 in 2024. Oh, man. Oh, man. Here's the Marvel shows in 2023. Loki season 2 and Secret Invasion. Both decent numbers. By the way, consider that this is about on par, actually a little bit less, than Rings of Power season 2. A lot of this stuff is relative, but it's very interesting nonetheless. Agatha all along in 2024, measurably lower than Loki and Secret Invasion, and then Echo way lower in 2024 than Loki and Secret Invasion in 2023. Luminate goes on to say, the Force is not with the Star Wars franchise. Again, something we absolutely knew, but it's good to have data that actually backs it up. Despite a promising start, Star Wars series The Acolyte was canceled by Disney and Lucasfilm shortly after its first episode finale. While mixed fan reactions were likely a factor, viewership for the show had waned, with a significant decrease after the first 2 episodes and into the finale. And Star Wars Skeleton Crew hasn't fared much better, with only one live-action Star Wars show set for 2025 and/or season 2. Disney should consider retooling its strategy to address the franchise's diminishing returns. Absolutely. These numbers are kind of freaking wild. This chart's a little bit too much for me. This, though, quite interesting. So consider this. This is the actual viewership numbers on chart for Ahsoka, The Acolyte, and Skeleton Crew. You can see that you do have a week 1 into week 2 bump for almost all the shows, which I do find kind of interesting, right? Like, I do find that to be kind of interesting. Now, this data could indicate that people in week 2 are catching up with week 1 and watching week 2, which is why, like, you see that bump there. But look at how big this bump is for Ahsoka. And then you have a fall off, pretty significant fall off, actually. But then around this time period, you gain into the finale. Okay. And that's very, very important. And also these numbers around here, around the 800 million minutes mark watch. This is, again, on par with a lot of season 2 of Rings of Power, just to keep it all in context. Okay. So when you go to The Acolyte, you have a much lower start, therefore a lower bump. But then this is where they said the show was Jover. You have a decline and then just more decline. So as opposed to Ahsoka, which, you get a little bit of a decline and then it builds back up, you have a decline and then even more decline. And then Star Wars Skeleton Crew, this is embarrassing. There's no way around it. This is embarrassing. You have a minor bump to over 200 minutes watch, and then you have a fall, and then you have an even greater fall. It's not as dramatic as the fall that Acolyte experiences, but that's because there wasn't a lot to lose. This is insanity. Okay, this is like crazy. Here's something that'll really shock you, though. IP familiarity breeds franchise strength. Intellectual property that can bring in a fan base from other media doesn't hurt. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, a late 2023 release, had the most minutes watched for a streaming original on Disney Plus in 2024. When I saw this blew my mind. This blew my mind. It's a known IP based on beloved novels, but only screen adaptation are 2 films from 2010 and 2013. And the franchise had never been given an author-approved faithful adaptation. Outside of Disney Plus, dystopian video game adaptation Fallout was a big hit for Prime Video, whereas the streamers Reacher and Cross delivered a different kind of familiar format, literary adaptations, detective mystery dramas. So this chart's kind of crazy, man. Like this chart is quite interesting, and I think, do I have it? Yeah, I have it here pulled up so you can see it in detail. So the number 1 of the entire 2024 on the platform was Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Now, that seems pretty wild, right? And if you just read the article and you didn't really understand the numbers in context, you might be like, holy W, Percy Jackson. And I guess W indeed. But how big of a W? Let's talk about it. This show is only 3 to 4, it looks like basically 400 million minutes different than a show that we just talked about getting canceled and a show that we just talked about doing horrible numbers in comparison to the shows of the previous year and to shows that you would consider to be its competition. So make no mistake about it, even though Percy Jackson gets a W here, it is barely performing better than a show that was literally canceled. Then you have the second highest performing show on Disney Plus, and these are originals for their IP franchises. The Acolyte, the show that literally got canceled. Okay? And again, if you look at those charts and you look comparatively to the Marvel and Star Wars stuff of 2023, it's embarrassing. Then you have Agatha All Along, which, like, at some point, like, sure, it's much cheaper than Acolyte and the Olympians. It probably costs about a quarter, maybe a fifth of what those other shows cost. But what does it cost the Marvel brand that Agatha All Along and Echo, the two major shows from last year, highly underperform from their competition and other streaming services and from the previous year's shows, including Secret Invasion? That's crazy. Okay? Echo, again, similar story. Now, X-Men 97, this is kind of wild to me. Because if this is true, this means X-Men 97, which had half-hour episodes, 10 of them, about 5 hours in total, was literally almost on par with Echo and Agatha All Along? That's insanity! Oh my God, Marvel fans should be super excited about X-Men 97's performance, and I think this almost guarantees that when X-Men 97 Season 2 comes out, you're going to have a big boost in numbers. But anyway, that's not really the point of this segment here. Let's keep going. Then you have Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3, outperforming Skeleton Crew Ahsoka and multiple seasons of Mandalorian? That's wild, dude. And again, you might start to think of that and you're like, whoa, that's like really good for Bad Batch. And I guess in a sense it is, but it also just shows you how far the mighty have fallen. Skeleton Crew can't outperform a third season of an animated show. Ahsoka's rewatch numbers can't outperform the animated show. The Mandalorian, if you combine, and here's something I don't really understand, is where is The Mandalorian Season 2? Why is the first and third season getting rewatched more than the second? That's absurd. But in general, Mandalorian, if you combine its 3 seasons, is holding pretty strong. It would be towards the top of this chart, I think, which is wild. Because they still don't have anything bigger than Mando, basically, for Star Wars. Okay, so couple other things. I just want to read through a little bit more of the insight from Luminate, and then I'll give you a little bit more of my takes, okay? So, this week we highlight a segment from Luminate Film and TV 2024 year-end report. The report showcases some of the most important trends impacting global entertainment industry. When it came to franchise titles in 2024, studios found themselves at an important crossroads. Down to one path was the now common strategy to build out content on pre-existing franchises, like Marvel. On the other path was to invest in intellectual property to build out fresh slates of franchises on which to create in the future. To showcase the divergence, let's take a look at a few examples from Disney+. 2024 saw diminishing returns for some of the biggest properties on Disney+. Both live-action Marvel TV series, Echo and Agatha All Along, underperformed when compared to 2023 series like Loki and Secret Invasion. Both of these 2024 titles also underperform compared to Percy Jackson and the Olympians. A late 2023 release, Percy Jackson is a known IP based on novels and screen adaptations, blah, blah, blah. Over at Prime Video, a similar phenomenon is occurring. The second season of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, saw a 60% decrease in the total minutes watched when compared to the first season, Both of these titles underperformed when compared to the dystopian video game adaptation Fallout, which was a smash hit for that platform. This raises the issue of how much studios can expect to get from existing franchises. 2024 was a testament to the fact that there's only so much mileage you can get out of them. When you look at the data from Luminance streaming viewership, it reflects that. When studios take on too much and don't invest enough in franchise management, these titles can wear out their welcome. There are many differing factors that can contribute to each show's declining interest, but investing in fresh ideas, whether or not they belong to a franchise, is essential as studios move into 2025. Okay, so a lot of different data there. Again, I like Luminant. I think these numbers are accurate. I think this data is good, and I also absolutely love the presentation that they do. I'm actually going to reach out to the people at Luminant to see if I can become involved in some way, get some of the data early or something, because I think they're fantastic. And I do actually think they will sort of take over Nielsen, because they don't just have the data. They seem to be able to give you a digestible look at the data, which is really interesting. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, it means that Star Wars and Marvel have really fumbled the goodwill that they have with audiences within these franchises. And as I have said many times before, I don't think the strategy that the studio has used for Disney Plus has been good. And essentially, I can just tell you what that strategy is very simply. The Disney Plus strategy is to take the franchises that they have that have worked in the movie theaters and to basically give you a lesser version that's digestible at home on streaming. That's what it is. It is literally, we have Marvel at home. That's what it is. Okay? And I think for that that's the thing that like the data's not really going to tell you, but that's actually, I think, what's really happening. Marvel in particular, but just Disney in general as well, they got really cute with their strategy when it came to streaming. I mean, the whole idea of their streaming stuff, especially within the first wave, was to give you shows with characters. I mean, Wanda's a really popular character, but like, let's be real. Was Wanda really what she was before WandaVision? Before Multiverse of Madness? Before like the Wanda fandom really took off? I'm not really sure. I mean, you look at all of the movies she's in, and I think she's pretty far down the call sheet. I love Elizabeth Olsen, but she's pretty far down the call sheet. I would actually argue that Vision was even more popular than she was. And so the WandaVision show, I thought, really did catch fire, and it was really interesting, but it's still conceived of as a lesser than movie experience. And frankly, man, when I look back at WandaVision, not to be a total hater, but a lot of the success that show saw was actually rooted in the Marvel fandom, the different theories, and the speculation that channels like myself, that channels like New Rockstars, that channels like Heavy Spoilers did. You really should appreciate what all of those channels and what the state of the fandom was to really cause that show to do as well as it did. And then from there on out, you begin to see the pattern of it just not being as cool as the movies, of it being a little sloppy compared to the movies because they didn't even have showrunners. They had different kind of writers. They were running these things like they were television shows, and it just didn't work. And if you look at Star Wars, I think you have a similar situation going on where they're trying to figure out how to do a television show at the scale of Star Wars that wouldn't necessarily replace or impede on the experience of seeing a Star Wars movie. And I think that is generally what started the problem. And I think this problem was compounded by volume. There was just so goddamn much content. And a lot of it's goobly glob. And one of the things you'll notice is like, there's no Kenobi on that chart for 2024 rewatching. There's no Book of Boba Fett on that chart, right? There's literally no Marvel shows that predate 2024 on the top charts, including Loki. So these shows are conceived of in a way, like they're a product that is inherently lesser than and ancillary. And I think the fans just basically caught on. And I think the fans were like, yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'm probably chill on that. I think I'm probably good on that. And then when there's just so much of it and it doesn't feel like it's the most important thing, the fatigue sets in, the fan base grows tired, and they go away. Okay? Now, it's a complicated issue, but at the end of the day, I really think that's generally what happened. And another aspect of the amount of volume was that you super fatigued your audience. I mean, frankly, if we had cut the Disney Plus shows in half, you might still have the problems you're having right now, but I don't know that they would be as extreme as they are now. Where, like, frankly, when it comes to Marvel, you have fatigued people so much of the Marvel formula or the MCU formula that the most hyped up shit moving forward is happening separate to that formula. Like, literally, like Daredevil Born Again is being hyped up because it actually doesn't feel like the MCU. It's getting hyped up because it feels like the Netflix show, right? That is bad. Like, that is not great. When you look at what Fallout did, and I think it's really interesting that they bring up the Fallout example. Fallout is a video game franchise, doesn't really have live action adaptations. And so a couple of things happen when you do a Fallout show. Number one, it's the Fallout show. It's not like the seventh fall off. It's not like the seventh Fallout live action series that Disney has printed in the last 4 years. It's not like the Fallout show that will hold you over until the Fallout movie. No, it's the fucking Fallout show, right? So it galvanizes the entire fan base of that IP. And it also, I think, signals to casuals and to people that just like good TV that, like, this is the most important thing, right? And so, I have a roundabout way of saying that Disney needs to drastically change the strategy. And even though we're about to talk about Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and I'm about to talk about how I might have been wrong, I'm excited to see the show. Holy cow, maybe Marvel really can deliver quality. It's still not going to solve the problem that they currently have. And I still believe that they should have canceled a lot of these shows. Echo and Agatha, despite being better than I thought they would be, do not move the needle. And you could argue they are only adding to this fatigue problem that is hurting Marvel. And so I'm going to say it again. They should cancel this shit. There's a ton of stuff coming out this year that even if it reaches a certain quality, that would shock me and be like, whoa, that's actually really impressive. You should have canceled it. You should have canceled it because you are either not aware of or you're not appreciating what is actually happening with the fan base. Here's another thing, okay? I do this for a living, and I've had to endure some of the most difficult years of my entire life because of this situation. And don't fucking cry for me because my life's still really fucking good. I'll admit that, very privileged. But the point is, bro, I'm not just talking out of my ass. My entire life has been affected by how bad Disney has fucking fumbled this, like, obvious shit. It's insane. So it's not just that I'm a fan. It's that I do this shit. And you have literally affected my life with how bad you have fumbled this. So there's a part of this that's me literally desperately pleading. Don't do this shit anymore. Stop with the second, third tier characters. Stop with the mentality of like, well, this could be interesting with this angle and it would serve this purpose and maybe some people would like it. Fuck that, dude. You have 75 plus years of Marvel Comics history. You've got like 60 plus years of Star Wars. You can go see what are the highest selling books, the highest selling characters for merch. What the fuck are you doing? Make really dope shit, high scale, with incredibly popular characters. That's the way out of this. And then one last final point on this. This is why Warhammer will win. Okay, this is why Warhammer will win, because Disney doesn't understand how much they have fatigued the main audience, the wide audience, people in general. They have fatigued them of franchises, of formulas, of brands, all of it. It's all, the Fallout is winning, and it is a violent, post-apocalyptic, like R-rated romp. How is that winning over what you would traditionally consider to be the most appealing 4-quadrant brands in the world, Marvel and Star Wars? They are kid-friendly. They're friendly to female fans. They're friendly to old. They're friendly to young. How is Fallout outperforming those 4-quadrant brands? It's really simple. You fucked it up. You fucked it all up. You fatigued everybody. And now there's like a hunger for just anything that feels different. Anything that feels original, anything that feels like we're at the start of something actually important. I look at some of these shows, like whether it's One Piece, Fallout, Last of Us. It's a different vibe, man. It's not the vibe of the 14th character down the call sheet spin-off thing with a 6-hour episode on Disney Plus. Nobody gives a shit about that. People want to experience actual worlds. People want to experience like well thought out stories that have the hopes and dreams of generations of motherfuckers that have added to the lore, to the love of a thing. They want to feel like they're living in a moment. They're experiencing a big deal. You can't piecemeal it out anymore, man. It's not working. So that is why Warhammer is going to win. Take advantage of a situation that is currently the state of big IP entertainment. And frankly, Disney did this to themselves. And I do think that there's room for a pivot here. And I do think there's room for them to alter the course. But I don't know how much damage has actually been done. And the data continues to actually shock me. Like, it might be even worse than what I think. And I wonder what the data will say at the end of 2023, or rather 2025. What will the data say then? What's going to be in the top 10 then? Marvel better hope Daredevil pops really big, because a lot of these other things, they don't pass the smell test to me. You know? So, as somebody that has literally had to endure this and like legitimately lived through this shit, my God, man. Because the other thing that's wild, and I feel like I'm really fucking rambling. This is like a 25-minute segment. The thing that's really wild is Disney has to have even better data than this. They have to. They have to. So why can't they figure it out? Right? It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, there's a very long segment. 26 50 minutes here. Let's see here. That was a very long segment, but there's a lot to get in there. I know a lot of you want to get your questions, comments, concerns, and your feedback. Let me just tear through these next two subjects, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm really interested. It's a cool moment, man. It's a cool show. A lot going on in the world. Okay, so let's pivot into some positive news, and actually some really impressive news. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Okay, so Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Man, I feel bad. I talked a lot of crap on this show. You know what I mean? I'm just being real. I did. I'll own it. Didn't love the animation, as you could tell probably from the last segment. I'm a little frustrated with the Disney strategy, but we have to watch this because number one, this new trailer is actually pretty lit. So I want to watch this trailer with you, but also the buzz on this show is kind of incredible. I couldn't believe it, and it's buzz off of the actual season. Marvel didn't give everybody like 4 episodes like they usually do. Marvel gave people all 10 episodes. And the buzz is crazy. People are very, very high on this show. So let's watch this trailer, and then I want to give you a little bit more insight about the show, and just feedback in general. So here we go.
Peter, you're gonna be late.
Sorry, babe, I'm up. I'm okay.
Hey,
Oh,
Petey's always been a bit clumsy.
you know me, clumsy, Petey, Parker. Help! Mr. Campbell, I remembered I left something in the bathroom. Deuces. Parker out.
Oh, man.
Superpower size kid, know you want a neighbor like me. Look out.
Somebody help me! He's running, grab him! Gotcha!
I thought it was dead meat. Check out our next victim in his dumbass costume.
Is my suit really that bad? Ouch.
Oh!
Watch out for that ladder!
Just consider it a good deed from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That's me, by the way. I'm Spider-Man.
There we go, there we go, there we go again. Swinging through the city so fast you could barely notice him.
I truly believe that I have these powers to help people, to protect them.
Need my city, you need me. Taking off the mask, I know what you see. Know you want a neighbor like me. Just a young man cleaning up the streets. Ain't nothing changed, no, this is the real me.
So, you're Spider-Man. With my help, you'll achieve greatness.
Oh, man! This suit's incredible! If you ever need another butt kicking, just look for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Know you want a neighbor like me.
And no, you may not be excused from said test. Ah, nice of you to join us, Mr. Parker. See me after class.
Okay, so look, I think that's probably one of the best trailers they've put out for the thing. However, the animation's still weird. You know what I mean? Like, the animation is kind of a hang-up for me still. Like, it looks strange. I think in this trailer you can see that some of the benefits of, like, using this format are you can do really cool comic booky things, right? A lot of interesting, like, vignetting and, like, split-screen stuff, and it feels very comic booky, okay? But it feels very stiff. It feels kind of lifeless. Certain people are taking some shots from some of these promotional things, and like they look really bad when isolated, right? Like there's some shots where like no background characters are moving, and you're like, what the hell? So it looks kind of different, right? But I think this is maybe one of the best trailers they've done, and I think in action this animation looks pretty good. I don't know. I'm not totally sold on it, but I will say that with an incredible amount of positive reviews about this show coming out from a large variety of different kind of content creators or reviewers, that has actually got me pretty excited. I don't hate the animation so much that I think it's going to destroy the experience for me. By the way, kind of similar to Superman, right? Where like I really don't like the look of the thing, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to sit down in front of that movie. And if it's good, if the tone's awesome, characters are awesome, and I feel like it's Superman, it might be okay. But for now, it does look weird. Similar issue with this show. I will have to just experience it. Like, I'm just going to have to sit down and watch it and experience it and see. But the buzz is wild. The other thing that's really crazy, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this segment, is because they've already greenlit season 3 of this show. Okay, so season 2 is all ready to go. I think it's completely written. I think they're going to start animating it soon. And they just greenlit season 3. So a couple of things that means. I mean, number one, it means Marvel Studios is very confident in this show. And they think it's going to do well enough to allow them to continue to make more seasons. Okay, that's obvious, but it's still a really good sign. I would also say that with them giving out the full 10 episodes to people, that's another sign that Marvel Studios is really pleased and happy about this thing. So out of this sort of sea of content that we have like sloshing in 2025, I was personally ready to write the show off completely. And I had told many of you guys like, oh man, I just don't know about this show. And also the fact that it's all airing within 4 weeks, I had originally taken to mean, oh, they're embarrassed by this thing. They just want this thing to go. You know what I mean? Like, they just want this thing out of here. That is not actually what's happening. They just think that this will be a good format for the release. They're very confident in the show, and you're going to get more of this show. So I don't know, man. I'm a giant Spider-Man fan, and I will never fault Marvel for trying like a new version of Spider-Man. And you know, the Bendis version of Spider-Man in the Ultimates was like a big thing for me when I was younger and reading comics, you know, and that obviously leads into the Miles Morales stuff and everything like that. But that was a new take on Peter. Before that, the last time you had young Peter Parker was like legitimately in the 60s and 70s. And all that stuff was just very out of step with the modern day. So anytime they try to modernize Spider-Man, do a new version of Spider-Man, I'm going to tune in out of curiosity and out of love for the character. I think that's just something you have to do with a character like Spider-Man. I think that the show separating itself from the MCU canon was very smart. And there's things this show is doing that, like, frankly, I wish all of Marvel was doing better. Like, it's really just utilizing a lot of really interesting characters, versions of characters, cool fights between characters. Like, Venom and Doctor Strange are supposed to fight in this show. Like, that's absolutely wild. So there's a lot of fun stuff that could potentially be happening. This show comes out this Wednesday, and I will definitely be checking it out. I might even do like a few videos about it. We'll see. I'll, at the very least, report back to you guys about what I liked or what I didn't as far as the actual episodes. I think they drop on Wednesday, so we'll probably talk about them on Thursday. But consider this a public service announcement. We might have been wrong about Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It might actually slap, and if you're a big Spider-Man fan, you might enjoy it. So I will be tuned in on Wednesday. Definitely want to know what you think about that. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, just a couple of more things here, and then we'll break into some Q&A here, okay? We'll break into some Q&A. So, speaking of Marvel shows, right? Oh, and hang on now. Okay, speaking of Marvel shows, let's talk about Daredevil Born Again. Crazy, man. Crazy. The showrunner for this show has been out saying some things on the internet. And some of these things are pissing off some Marvel fans. Go figure. So let's go over this article here, and then we'll continue to break it all down for you. By the way, SFX, this is a Games Radar thing, but it is also sci-fi, I believe, or SFX. Daredevil Born Again will fix the showrunner's big issue with the Netflix series. At its worst, it was two characters in a room talking about what a hero is. Uh-oh, are you already triggered? Exclusive. Dario Scardapan tells SFX magazine about the changes in tone with the new Disney Plus show. Daredevil Born Again showrunner Dario Scardapan says the upcoming Marvel series will have some big differences from the original Netflix show. There is more fun in the moments with these characters and a lot less navel-gazing than before, he says in the new issue of SFX magazine, which features Daredevil Born Again on the cover. The earlier show, at its best, was fantastic. At its worst, it was two characters in a room talking about what a hero is. I felt that had been done. I'm not taking swipes. I just didn't want to hear characters grousing about their lot in life. I wanted to see them doing things. One of the major changes he made was with the pace of scenes. Scardapan says, referencing his time on Punisher, one of our edicts was longer scenes, he recalls. You had these long 5-page scenes of characters hashing it out in order to make space between these massive action sequences. The way stuff has evolved since then, we're able to do big action sequences at a lot more pace. That's kind of interesting. Again, I'll hold my comments. We're almost done. I really feel that Netflix's Daredevil, which I know in my blood was much more noir And this show is much more New York crime story, he continues. It has elements of The Sopranos and Kings of New York. There's a feeling for those classic 90s crime tales. It has a pace and a scope that, for a lot of reasons, Netflix wasn't able to do. They were very dark cinematically, not necessarily story-wise, although there were some dark elements. We're much darker. Okay, so those are some wild comments, I'll be real. And one of the things that people get upset about with these comments is him sort of disparaging the old Netflix series. It's kind of weird. This is maybe the first time we've heard anybody involved in the show trying to make a distinction between the old Netflix stuff and the new Marvel version of the show. I think in large part that was because it seems like the strategy for Marvel was to try to latch on to the DNA of the Netflix show as much as possible. And I think the thing that's kind of unsaid here, but should be obvious to any of us that actually follow this stuff, the obvious thing is he's talking about the new version of the show. He wasn't even a part of the original MCU Daredevil show because they didn't even have a showrunner. Again, we've talked about this at great length, right? They didn't even have a showrunner. So the version of the show that was predating this one was wildly different than the Netflix show in some really bad ways. This version of the show is much closer to the Netflix show. But what he is saying here is trying to draw a distinction between the old Netflix show and the new version of the show. Now, I got to tell you, I am currently rewatching Daredevil right now. I'm just about through the first season, trying to get into the second season. I think I will have all 3 seasons done before the new show comes out, okay? But I'm going to tell you something. A lot of fans were really mad and were saying, you know, we're cooked, or, oh, man, it's Jover. Like, this guy doesn't get it. Some of the talking scenes are some of the best scenes from the old show. I'm going to be honest with you. This guy's right. I love the old Netflix show. Particular episodes really stand out, and they're absolutely incredible. But he's right, dude. There's a lot of motherfuckers talking in that old Daredevil show, and a lot of that dialogue, not super great, not super interesting. I think that the vibe, like the Netflix show does so much right. The characters, the layers of story between the characters, the secrets held, the way that unfolds, brilliant stuff. The connection between Fisk and Daredevil is so core. That sort of slow burn of putting those two characters together, the similarities between them, the differences between them, Matt's emotional struggles, etc., etc. Brilliant stuff. But this dude's right. There was way too much talky in those shows. And the other thing that he's not saying here, is that it actually gets worse as the shows go on. It gets worse. Like, Daredevil, I think, has some fantastic seasons. My personal favorite is season 2, probably because of the Punisher. Season 3 is really good and really tight. But you look at some of the other shows, man, like Jessica Jones is a brilliant first season, and the second season is so utterly forgettable, I don't even remember what happened. Luke Cage has a similar thing going on, where basically the first, 5 episodes of Luke Cage are fire, and then it completely falls apart. Iron Fist, my God, what a laughable mess. Like, it's not just that show, it's all the shows. Punisher did this too. And what he's saying to you is there were mandates from Netflix. They wanted a big, long episodes. They wanted to draw out scenes. And therefore, a lot of the pacing of the Netflix stuff is ridiculous. Okay? And maybe that's blasphemy to say, but that's how I feel about it. And I'm actually rewatching that shit right now. I was actually noticing this before this dude even said these comments. I was like, man, it's like these dudes, man, less this, more this, that's what I want to see. So I think this dude is right. And I also think that this idea of it being more of a crime story as opposed to noir, I think that's going to feel generally right as well. You can't actually just do what came before. You don't really want to just copy pasta what worked on Netflix. It still has to form its own identity. And I do think they should try to make it elevated compared to what it was before. And I think that's going to go down. So I agree with this guy, okay? And another reason I agree with this guy is I think he's kind of fucking based. So check this out, and this might trigger a few of you. Your mileage may vary. Daredevil Born Again may not address Matt's relationship with She-Hulk, says showrunner Dario Scartapan. Those other events happened, but some of them we are not leaning into. He went on to say his one-night stand, he literally said, Matt's one-night stand with She-Hulk might be one of those things. Okay? Now, I know there's so many people that have so many different opinions of this, that, second, and the third, but this guy at least can read the room enough to be like, yeah, Matt and his walk of shame from She-Hulk, not going to work. Not going to work, man. Not on my watch. So I guess I wanted to bring this up because the fandom is doing what fandom does. And they're arguing. And not everybody agrees. And, you know, especially because I think of the state of Marvel, which we kind of went over in the Lumina thing or whatever, right? But because of the state of Marvel, you know, you do have a lot of fans that hear a showrunner say, like, you know, that old Netflix show was just people talking in rooms about what a hero is. And you've got a lot of people being like, it's better than anything you've ever made. Shut your goddamn mouth. And I get that. But ultimately, I want to come to his defense a little bit here, man. I think he's right. I think there's a way to tap into the energy and the DNA of the Netflix show, but make it better. Make it better pace. Less talking about your plight. I mean, dude, come on, man. We've seen that stuff. If anything, we've seen it from the Netflix stuff. They did that, and they did it a lot. So I actually like that. I agree with them on those comments, and I'm going to give them a lot of credit for, number one, you know, just saying it when it comes to She-Hulk. You know, he's still being polite about it or whatever, but he's saying it. And I think he's reading the room with these comments. And I would like to believe that Marvel's reading the room as well. I mean, She-Hulk was recently taken off of the Disney banner on Disney Plus. And this is one of those things where, like, yeah, man, maybe certain people really like that show. That's fine. You know, I saw some of the people that worked on the show, you know, talking about this on social media. And do I feel bad for them? Sure, you know. But ultimately, the She-Hulk show was a big slap in the face to the fandom. And I think it was like, I just think it was such a bad, it was a very bad vibe at maybe the worst time ever. And this polka dot shirt wearing, you know, green skinned, woe is me, absolute twat of a character did a lot of damage to the Marvel brand. And she should be relegated to nowhere for a long, long time. That's my personal opinion. Not to get super toxic about it, but all my homies hate She-Hulk. So there you have it. There's your update about Daredevil Born Again, showrunner, kind of based. Also kind of upsetting people with his comments about the Daredevil Netflix show. I would love to know what you think about that. And ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, can you believe it? That was a straight hour of news. Do you need a cigarette? Do you need a timeout? Do you need a cuddle? Let me know what you mean. Now I'm going to go back through, and I want to go over the super chats, the member chats, and I'll also look at the chat. Let's get into some Q&A with regards to all the different topics that we just went over. And then after we do Q&A, I want to watch that video about Captain America Brave New World, and we'll react to that together. At least I was really positive about the Superman thing, you know? Like, it shows great maturity to be able to handle this situation with the Superman stuff with such grace and dignity. Oh, it looks like people are upset about my Wanda take. What's the problem here? You guys don't think that Wanda was not that popular? You think Wanda was the best, the most popular? Come on, man. Be serious. Be serious. Javier Mendez from earlier in the stream with that $20 holla, man. I appreciate it. Says the new one-shot Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon comic is interesting. It goes over them discussing time and the beginning of time. Their dynamic was interesting. Would love to see them interact, even for just a brief moment, in live action. Well, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I will say I have a big video coming out about Doctor Doom probably today. And this all has to do with you are getting more Doctor Doom after Secret Wars. Yeah, that's a thing. And I want to explain it. Want to explain what's going on. And so you should definitely check out that video. But I think Rocket and Doom could have some interactions. I doubt they will interact very much in Secret Wars, but potentially in future stuff for sure. Abe says, Discord, community, the den of nerds. That's what I need. I got you, buddy. Joshua Campbell Bluegrass says, Soups look like he in one of those dumb 360 videos. Yeah, it looks terrible. Look, how about this? Can we do something? I wasn't really looking at chat when I was making my comments about Superman. People are very upset about the Doom news. There are some people upset about it, and I addressed that in the video too. You know? In fact, I think people are shocked by it. I think people are shocked and confused. You know? Most people went to watch Multiverse of Madness for Wanda. Yeah, maybe. So what are you trying to say? That before her show and movie that she co-starred, she was still very popular? Because that's not what? You really said Vision was more popular than Wanda? Do you guys really disagree with that? All right, here's what I need to know. I need to know how many of you guys are looking like, how many of you guys actually have eyes that are as cross-eyed as Superman in that thing? What I'm asking is, if there are any among you brave enough to say, you think the Superman flight spin looks good, actually, throw a 1 into the chat. Guys look like Steve Buscemi in Waterboy or something. All over the goddamn place. How many of you actually believe that Superman thing looks good? I need to know. There's got to be a couple of you out there. You know what I noticed about this too, and I'm not trying to be rude, but there were certain people yesterday giving me a hard time on social media. Guarantee all of them over 55 years old. And that doesn't matter, except for the fact that it totally fucking matters and your eyes are gone. Do not presume to tell me what and what does not look good. You old fucker. I'm going to get a call from my management after this stream. I can tell you right now. I'm going to get a call. They're just going to ask me like, hey man, chill the fuck out. What's it going to take? Couple of notches down. Lex look cool though? Yeah. Fair. Yeah. Okay, there's a couple ones in here. There's a couple ones. You know, we don't have to hyper fixate on it, but like, you're all fucking wrong. Explain it to me. How can you see it and not be disgusted? How can you look at this and not see how garbage it is? Anyway, let's keep going on these chats. Rossi's in here with a rose. Appreciate it. Alex, appreciate it. Joshua says, man, screw the haters. This ish looks like, I mean, you're not wrong. Michael Phantom says, everyone talking about his head. Why do his arms look a half the size as they should? You know what I think might be going on? I kind of have a theory on this. I think these VFX companies that are working for James Gunn, I feel like they're Snyder fans, dude. Like, somebody explain it. You know? Like, how else does this shit look really that bad? Like, it legit looks bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how is that possible? And again, I think it proves those reports that Jeff Snyder made to be accurate. You know? They're probably Snyder bros. They're probably some of the same people that are clowning on him on social media. Those are the same people that work at these VFX companies. And maybe they've got the memes ready to go. I'm not sure. But it looks pretty bad. Alex says, that's why reshoots are important. Marvel knows it. I wish I had context for this a little bit. I mean, you're not wrong. They are going to reshoot Superman, and they're going to have to make it look a lot better. Tighten it up, different pickups, etc., etc. But let's not forget that Gunn is a guy that has constantly talked about how he's done 2 days of reshoots in like the last 8 years of making movies. Like, he doesn't do reshoots, right? So the fact that he's doing reshoots, the fact that Snyder is reporting that there's major VFX problems, I mean, it's just not going swimmingly. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just not going super great. Kaylin J says, DD will show the people, Daredevil will show if people really watch Disney Plus shows. Man, I'm fascinated. Oh, dude, Prodigal Son, that's actually totally true. You're right. Damn, you're right on that one. I'm fascinated by this question, too. I mean, Daredevil, to me, I think the trailer looks incredible. I'm super impressed with the imprint of it. You know, a lot of people on social media very positive for it. But I wonder how much of the casual audience has just completely moved on. You know? Like, I've been watching some of, like, Grace Randolph's content about this stuff. She's, like, kind of really doomsayer on Daredevil. You know, but then she'll, like, kind of find ways to kind of walk it back a little bit. But I think that she feels like it's going to underperform. And it's possible that she's right. And if that happens, it will be devastating. Like, that will be devastating to Marvel. Marvel recreating a show completely, doing everything they possibly can do to uphold and respect the legacy of those characters in that other show. If it does not do well, I mean, but you're right. We're going to find out. Space Trick Cereal says, LOL, accidentally bought a Space Dwarves army, so I guess I'm here, feeling little dwarves and giant robots. What's the dark side of the Imperial Knights, the Chaos Knights? Dude, that's so funny. I saw your video on the Discord. I didn't see it right away, but I eventually saw it, and I thought it was really funny. Space Trick Cereal does dungeon mastering. That's not a sex thing. That's a D&D thing, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm just digging myself in a hole here. But the point is, he does D&D, and you use miniatures for D&D, and he ordered a bunch of dwarves, and they ended up sending him Warhammer dwarves. So now he's in, baby. Now he's in. Let's go. Galliot Productions says, Gun rules, Feige drools. You know what, brother? I got to respect it. That is some peak dad joke, brainless meme. That's exactly my kind of humor. And so even though I reject the sentiment behind it, I just have to acknowledge your skill of trolling and joking at that level. Very impressive. Fahad says, this is going to fall face first for DC, and the final blow to bury DC, unfortunately. Sad to see it, but the MCU ended after Endgame for me, and this new DCU can barely lift off. Part of growing up as nerds is leaving things behind. Holy! Oh, man, Fahad. First of all, I appreciate the $20. That's not cheap. Seriously, appreciate the support. Number two, god damn, you put some emotion in this thing, man. I mean, this is like the Odyssey itself. I'm going to read this again. This is going to fall face first for DC, and the final blow to bury DC, unfortunately. Sad to see it, but the MCU ended after Endgame for me, and this new DCU can barely lift off. Part of growing up as nerds is leaving things behind. Oh my God, it stings. Oh my God, it stings, man. Can you believe this dude said that? So, Fahad, I only have one thing to say to you. Have you heard of Warhammer? Have you heard of Warhammer? All of our hopes and dreams now fall to the Warhammer franchise, baby. I'm going all in. I'm going all in at Warhammer, baby. And I actually think Marvel's going to be all right. I mean, I fucking hope so, right? But even if they're not, Warhammer is the answer, dude. Warhammer has all these things. I mean, like, come on, man. Do you think it's a coincidence that Fallout's the show that's popping off? The Boys is a show that's popping off. People love sci-fi. Dune's doing well, you know? They're just tired of the constraints and the franchising that Disney has done. And I guess Warner Brothers and Sony and, you know, others too. But Warhammer is the answer. Don't worry, we're almost there. Kaylin J says Marvel needs to drop a whole season of a show. Well, they did with Echo. You know, they did. Let's not forget, they did with Echo. I think the release schedule for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, that's pretty interesting. I'm excited to check that out. I heard it gets better much later. It's kind of weird, right? Like, gets better much later, but we're still doing like 3 episode here, 3 episode there. I don't know. We'll see how it hits, but I'm interested in that. Not really sure if the binging is the answer, if I'm being honest. I don't think that really makes a difference. Although I will say certain shows are better as a binge. Which, like, here's another thing. You know, when that guy's talking about Netflix, like, the thing that I think a lot of fans are not understanding is that this dude did showrun 2 seasons of Punisher. So he's not talking out of his ass. Like, he's talking as a creative. What he's literally saying to you is Netflix wanted watch time and they wanted binge. So they had us mandatory stretch out these scenes. Mandatory. So it's not even the pacing that he wanted to do. Netflix was like, yeah, but if we stretch each episode by like 5 to 10 minutes after 2 seasons, that's 3.6 relative more hours times the 20 million people that watch. You know what I mean? Like, they're just making weird decisions. Here's a great point from C-Dub. Says Fallout also had strong female lead. No one cares. What an incredible point. What's the let me ask you something. Fallout, strong female lead. Agatha, strong female lead. Echo, strong female lead. Acolyte, strong female lead. Skeleton Crew, I have no idea because I've washed the memory of that bullshit from my brain. But I think there were some females in there. If the narrative that fans and male fans just can't get down with female characters, oh, we just can't get down with it. Oh, people are so toxic towards She-Hulk. Explain Fallout. It's obviously not the female lead. That's not the problem. It's a good point. Star Wars Sith says, hey, crispy pancake guy, MegaCon or nah? Unfortunately not, brother. I would love to go. Things are just too wild right now. You know, baby number 2, a lot of business stuff. I'm really trying to get Unity back on track, which hopefully I can give you an update this week on that. I'm juggling a lot right now. So, and frankly, I'm probably not going to do any conventions or really go outside other than the gym for the next 90 days. I told you guys this before, but I'm on a new kind of kick this year where instead of making one New Year's resolution, I have chunked my year into 90-day cycles, and I have different goals for each 90 days. This first 90 days is very important. So for the next 90 days, it actually begins today. For the next 90 days, I'm going to be working like a madman, trying to accomplish certain things. And then I'll take like 15 days off and I'll go into my second 90-day chunk, and then we'll do that again. But that is to say that there's really no room in this 90-day period for like conventions. We're just not there yet. I want to get Unity printed. I want to get the channels going well. I need to hire like 2 or 3 more editors and just have everything running smooth. And then we'll go to some cons, man. I'm sorry, Star Wars Sith. Man, had a good time with you at the meetup a couple of years ago now. And we will meet again. And I'm excited to hang out with Theory, man. You know, like I want to see Theory again. I think the con, see him in person, that's gonna be great. Hopefully we have some drinks and stuff and just talk about old times. And I think that would be great. It would be great for the fans as well. Joshua Campbell says, still not sold on Spider-Man. Oh, you mean the show? At least Marvel has hope. Daredevil pacing change could be positive, in my opinion. Oh, I agree, brother. I agree. I don't like sand, says with a 5 spot. Marvel slate for 2025, I think, will be a dumpster fire. I only have expectations and hope for Daredevil. I'll see Thunderbolts and hope to be entertained. It's a weird year. Like, I'm going to be honest, it's a weird year. I think they have some serious bangers. Like, I think Daredevil's going to bang. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of starting to feel like Captain America might bang. I feel like Brave New World might be a banger. We'll see. Thunderbolts, I'm convinced, is going to be very fun. And then Fantastic Four, a lot of my hopes for the year lie in what the Fantastic Four is doing. So that's dope. But yeah, a lot of this other stuff, like Ironheart, Wonder Man, Marvel Zombies, Eyes of Wakanda. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? You know? So hopefully they can fix it. I think these next batch of shows, like there's rumors of like Hawkeye season 2, which sounds great. Sounds like a vast improvement. The Nova show rumors sound really good. Don't really know shit about Champions, but that could be cool, I guess. And the Punisher show. They're doing a Punisher show. So they're cooking. And then season 2 of Daredevil, they're going right into that. So there are still a lot of things I'm excited for, but we're just living in this like this time period is weird, dude. When you look at those Luminant numbers, like there's just no way around it. This is not a positive outcome. You're not actually doing, in my opinion, you're not doing yourself any favors by continuing to release this stuff, spend resources to make it just a little bit better. That's not actually helping the brand in the way that you think it is. Like, here's the best way I can say it, okay? And you guys let me know if you think this is accurate or not. If Marvel makes a bunch of their shows better than we expect, it really only wins points with people like me and people like you, who frankly were probably going to check out anything anyways. It just makes us a little bit more satisfied as that kind of fan. It doesn't actually help the brand with the normies, with casuals. Like, that's the way I see it. Is like, I understand Feige's, I think I understand his process and what he's trying to do. Making these shows just a little bit better than before, it really only helps people like us. It helps the conversations that we have. And I suppose there's some crossover there with, like, you know, normies and casuals and stuff like that. But, like, I don't think it's winning them any fans back from the casual audience that has checked out. Like, do you feel me on that or nah? Nah. Yeah. I think it's a good point. Vincent, appreciate you, brother. 19 months. I hope you're doing well, man. Prodigal Son says, I thought you said you took Friday off to frame that crusty poster. You got me. The Bates Funny Farm says Defenders versus Thunderbolts. You hear about this? No. What's that? I don't understand. I don't understand. You tell me. Colas Vador says, just give me the secret level episode in movies, please. Yeah, I think that would be clutch. One of the things that Matt and I are currently doing for the Nerd Hammer podcast is we've been breaking down, like, what are the episode ideas and what are we going to get into in each episode? And man, there's just so much. Dude, I feel like a fucking kid in a candy store. This is amazing. Like, the amount of content we can make is crazy, dude. It's crazy. So many things, so many questions. What's the scale of this thing? What story should they start with? Do we do 30K stuff? Do we do 40K stuff? What's the difference between the shows and the movies? Should they have an intro show that shows you the Inquisitory and some of the aspects, and then bam, Horus Heresy movies, right? Who should play the different characters? What factions and things are actually important to have in the first project? How do you bring people into Warhammer and not overwhelm and confuse them? What are some examples of great adaptations that have happened? What can we learn from those great adaptations? What can we avoid from Kathleen Kennedy? You know, like, these are the questions, man. And on top of that, like, we could deep dive on the lore. Oh my God, deep diving on the lore, taking you guys through the different factions, the different time periods, the different battles, the different characters, all of the Primarchs, all of the Space Marine factions, all of the Xenos, all of the Chaos Gods. Oh my God. Brother, I am so excited about the breadth of content that we can make for this Warhammer channel. Dude, it's hyped. I'm very excited. Scott says, are you caught up on Ultimate Spider? Hickman is cooking. No, but I'm going to try to catch up on comics tonight. I'm trying tonight, man. I'm going to try to set some time aside tonight. I'm going to have a couple of drinks. I'm going to read some comics. It's going to be great. Noah says, would you agree that some of these projects aren't made for high viewership? Just like you said about Cap 4 not doing well. Much love, you gun hater. Yeah, I think that's fair, but, like, again, you have to ask yourself, is that the right move? My argument is kind of stemming from this place of, like, it kind of works for us, but brother, we've been seeing all this shit. We're not the ones. I mean, I guess at some point we could leave, and maybe some of you are, maybe some of you are not watching everything, but what I mean is, like, it feels like the strategy is catered to people that are still really engaged and that have just been disappointed. And it's like, dude, these Luminant numbers are showing a much bigger problem than that. Like, you've lost the plot with a lot of people. That needs addressed. So, yes, I mean, look, what is their current strategy? As far as we know it, and this is not, like, I'm trying to take the bias out of here. This is just, like, what I know from reporting. Yeah, they've done what they've been doing. They're trying to make everything a little bit better, get it to a point of quality that they feel is deserving of the Marvel brand, and then release it. And the thought process is, we've gotten 9 projects to that point in 2025. We can't slow down unless we dump everything we've got in 2025. Hopefully it's good enough to not do brand damage, and then we move on. And I'm just telling you, I don't think that's a great strategy. I don't think that's a great strategy, man. Drunk 3PO. Appreciate you, Jay. Jay, I almost drank out of your coffee cup today, man. Says, I didn't realize you are more toxic on Twitter than most of my friends. Ha 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 ha. Bro, what the fuck? Is that true? That cannot possibly be true. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Chat, do you think that's true? How am I even toxic on Twitter? What do you mean? Hang on. Hang on now. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at my profile on Twitter. Which, by the way, Twitter, Elon, You fucking idiot. You fucking idiot, Elon. My account got suspended yesterday for the banner picture that is still on the Twitter. So somehow I was able to get rid of the ban by deleting this banner. It's not deleted. It's right there. But let's look through this. Am I really that toxic? Going to be a nice chill stream today? That seems fine. Look at this. Josh says, fair take here, but I'll just add that the weirdness makes me believe Jeff Snyder's reports on the VFX for Superman. That seems totally fine. It's just called reading the room. W. Dario. That seems totally fine. Talking about fascinating data. That feels fine. Talking about Disney being cute. That feels fine. Just another day on Twitter. Yeah, it's a funny meme. They stay trying to stop me. That's real. The Gunn fans are so butthurt, or maybe it's Gunn himself because that motherfucker spends way too much time on social media. I got reported. People were trying to look at my viral Superman tweet, and they were getting messages that said, this has been blocked. Why was it blocked? Because I violated rules, my profile banner, which is, where's the profile banner? Right there. Fucking idiot, Elon. Jesus. Yeah, I'm telling you, this is all fine. I don't think I'm that toxic here. I think this is all pretty chill. You know, like cancel the Ray movie. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a hot take. I don't know. I think Jay's got me all wrong here. I think Jay's got me all wrong here. Zach says the 10 spot. Hey, that is generous, brother. Thank you so much. Says, happy Monday, everyone. I got to watch after work, but take my money. Personally, I love female characters if they are written correctly and have big old boobies. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, we need better writers. Much love, everyone. Nerd vengeance for life. Zach, appreciate you. I see that you, too, are a man of culture. Space Trek Serial TM says, tell me the evil, grimdark truth of the Imperial Knights. I mean, that one's easy, dude. The Imperial Knight families that become chaos worshippers, yeah, they just go to the dark side. That's really not that hard. The grim dark flip is fascinating, though, and it's something I'm thinking about with Matt and I with the podcast. Is like, because it'll be always interesting to talk about the lore, right? But then there's always like a catch, usually a grimdark catch. But the Imperial Knights of Chaos, they don't really have that. So they just go to the dark side, start, getting manipulated and worshiping the chaos gods, etc., etc. Shelf Presence says the AV's X 1987 miniseries is the blueprint for the MCU. Sub the Soviets for the T-Bolts, or better yet, bring in the Winter Guard. Brother, you're going to have to explain that to me again in great detail. I don't really know what you're saying there. I don't really know what you mean. Only 30% of the viewers like Warhammer? Oh, that's not true. Should we go to the polls? Let's go to the polls. Let's do an official poll here. How do you feel about Warhammer? We'll go, love it, like it, meh, hate it. Let's just see. There's less and less of you with the Z's in chat every week. Love to see it. Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, this has been a slow conversion. We're a little bit more like Lorgar here than the Lion. But we are going to turn this community into Warhammer fans. I mean, we already have in a lot of ways. Your banner on X is blanked out for me. Oh, okay, so maybe I can only see it now? Okay, maybe I went a little too hard on Elon. I don't want your feelings to be hurt, Josh. Well, then shut the fuck up and say you love it. I mean, it's all good, bro. Say what you want. Say what you want. By the way, Justin, did you get my DM today? I DM'd you a new Eldari combat patrol, and I said, you ready to start painting, mother sucker? Yeah, man. You ready to start painting? Let's go. Oh, what the hell? This poll sucks. We've got 19% of people say they love it. 19% of people say they like it. 46% of people say meh. And 17% of people say they hate it. Damn. Well, it looks like you know what that means, chat? Do you know what that means? Just more work to be done. More work to be done spreading the glory of the God Emperor. Don't worry, I'm up for the task. Don't worry, I'm up for the task. Sith Ethereum JM says, hey Josh, are reading the Codex books for Warhammer the best way to get into the lore for the Warhammer universe? They're a decent way to get into the lore. Absolutely. Usually a codex has a pretty detailed breakdown of old lore, current lore, cool, interesting things. Yeah. Yeah. The Warhammer aesthetic just doesn't do it for me, but I'll give the live action shit a chance. Okay, there you go. There you go. Do Warhammer lore videos. I mean, I've done a couple of them. And part of what we're going to do on the podcast will be that. Yeah. So, you know what I think would be kind of interesting? And like, you guys let me know if you're down, right? I've been thinking about doing a stream that is something like Warhammer is the next MCU. Change my mind. Have you ever seen those videos, right? I think Steven Crowder was the original guy that did it. And then it gets sort of repurposed and used in memes and all kinds of shit. So what I think would be cool is if you guys recorded a video of yourself. You don't have to actually do video. It could just be audio. But record yourself talking about why you don't think Warhammer is the next MCU. And I will do a whole stream where I like go over your videos or your thing. And then I rebut it in excruciating detail. Do it at the cons. I could do it at the cons and I'd be down. But like I just said, I'm not leaving the house for 90 days. And Rebel Moon did become the new Star Wars, right, Josh? I have no idea what you're talking about. What's a Rebel Moon? I've never heard of her. A Rebel Moon? What? So, would you guys be interested in doing that? I'll have to vet the videos. Unfortunately, I can't risk you guys like saying some wild shit live. So we've got to vet the videos. I'll have somebody go through them. But would you guys be interested in that? Because it's dark and depressing and originally made as a commentary on Margaret Thatcher. Yo, fuck Margaret Thatcher. No, yeah, it's dark. I mean, what do you want me to say? How's the baby girl Avenger? Oh, she's good, man. She's good. Last week, we were dealing with, she would become very fussy at night. And we think she's just got, like, some digestion issues. And she gets gassy, and then she gets really miserable. But we started giving her baths. So whenever there's like, they call it the witching hour, actually. It's kind of fascinating if you look it up. But a lot of young babies around week 2 or 3 will start getting incredibly fussy towards the end of the night. And I think it's just a buildup, like digestion throughout the day, overstimulation. It leads to like a bad situation. But we've been just giving her nice warm baths, and it tends to soothe her really well. So You live and you learn. And every kid's different. Like, Liam really didn't have that. So we were both kind of surprised because Athena's such a good baby. But then, yeah, she was getting pretty grumpy in the evenings. But we figured it out. Make the first week of February Warhammer week. Any particular reason why? Or you just kind of want me to? What? 7 p.m. witching hour last 8 years. Damn. Don't fall for Josh's trap. He's trying to make us engage with Warhammer. Hey, I'm just saying. Warhammer's the next MCU. Change my mind. If you don't think so, maybe you should change my mind. Oh, you think you know better? Change my mind. Oh, yeah, Carlos, don't worry. We're going to get him. Don't worry, we'll get him. More room for unity? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, I want to end the stream today watching a video that's been passed around the internet. Let me see if I can just find it through search. That'd be pretty cool if I could. Captain America, Brave New World. Okay, doesn't seem like I can find it that way. Maybe if I just put everyone is wrong. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, it's about a 20-minute video. So let's get into this. Now, let me preface this, okay? Oh, here's something really interesting. I want to show you guys something. So, I look at YouTube data all the time. If you're into YouTube, you want to grow your channel or whatever, you should probably be looking at data and whatnot. So this is kind of an interesting chart. If you look up here, you can see the normal trajectory of views for this channel. And then look at how this video is performing. It's just like a really big breakout hit for this channel. So either way, the whole shebang, congratulations to you. Wait, hang on. Okay, so his comment here says they didn't reshoot most of the action sequences, just 3 set pieces in the film towards the beginning. The movie's mostly the same besides that. I got all the sources linked in the description if anyone wants to look into this further. Okay, so this video's doing very well. It's only 23,000 views, but I think it's going to, it's going to get a lot of traction for this guy's channel. Pretty good. The premise of this video is that the discourse surrounding this movie and a lot of the stories about it are actually not true. This is in regards to the reshoots and a lot of stuff like that, okay? So let's get into this. Real quick, I'll touch on these. If Cavill's Warhammer show sucks, you're dead on arrival. 100%, it'll be absolutely horrible, and I can't fucking believe it. Braden says, how much money will I send for you to keep all Warhammer talk to your Warhammer channel and never speak about that cult here again? So the real question, because I have a question back to you to answer your question. How much money would it take for you to be really mad that I said I would do that and then I didn't? That's really where we're at. Is like, I understand your question, but I guess in my mind, it's like, that's not going to happen. But I'd love to take a large portion of your money to falsely promise that it would happen. But I don't want to take so much of your money that you hate me forever and never want to be a part of the community. So if you can come back to me with some figure that like you're willing to lose, that I'll make the promise and then immediately go against it. If you can let me know that, then we can work something out. Okay, let's watch this video.
To know about me is that I love Captain America and I am chronically online. I may not have seen the sun or touched.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Fair play. Hey, fair play. Fair play. He's chronically online. Like all of you.
Grass in the last year, but at least I've been able to see the rampant misinformation against Brave New World take over in real time. Oh, wait, that's bad too. Man, the internet kind of sucks. There's been a ridiculous amount of misinformation out about this movie, and as a diehard Captain America fan...
Oh, man, I was going to say, I want to record my reaction to this, but maybe I'll just cut it out later, if it's good.
It makes me sick. People saying things like there have been non-stop reshoots, when in reality, it's all completely untrue. I don't blame anyone for believing these rumors. They spread like wildfire and are practically unavoidable. But the sad truth of it all is that these lies have clouded fans' vision of the film and given them a preconceived notion that it's going to be bad. It's frustrating to see, as this is a character I care deeply about who doesn't deserve this kind of narrative run against him. Okay. I've paid more attention to this movie than people I know in real life, so I'd consider myself an expert on this topic. On top of that, though, I've spent the last week researching how this all happened to set the record straight. Cool. Let's start with the elephant in the room and the biggest lie out there, the reshoots. Okay, it's the hardest one of these to disprove because it's rooted in reality to an extent. But to
yes, I was just going to say, like, I hope he at least acknowledges that, like, it's not all bullshit. I mean, especially because I'm a person that literally does this for a job, and I'm like super dialed into like what the different leakers and scoopers and people are saying. I mean, I know... And you guys know, too, just through proxy, right? We know that Giancarlo Esposito was filming this movie for 2 weeks, and then he was showcased in one of the big trailers. We know that because multiple reports of him being cast. He talked about it at a Comic-Con. He went there and shot for 2 weeks, and then he was immediately in a trailer. He then went back to shoot again. He said that on stage at Comic-Con. So, like, we know that there are reshoots, and we know that they've been changing the movie quite a bit.
Things up right off the bat, there were not multiple rounds of reshoots at all. It's become common knowledge that Brave New World was delayed from July of 2024 to February of 2025 to undergo some reshoots. The news came towards the end of 2023 as a result of the writers and actors strike. While they may have wrapped principal photography before the historic and very needed SAG-AFTRA strike began, it caused a seismic shift throughout Marvel's entire slate and directly impacted Brave New World's post-production schedule. And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise. 2023 was a bumpy year for Marvel and acted as a wake-up call for Disney that they needed to give the studio more time to breathe. There was a mandate in place to make as much as possible in as little time as possible, and the effects of that were really starting to show. Believe it or not, that's not a good business model. To fix this, Marvel's entire slate was pushed back as 2024 became a quieter year for the studio as they could now take more time to perfect each project, starting with Captain America. Through feedback they were getting both internally and through test screenings, it became clear that the action in the film wasn't living up to the standards set by the Captain America franchise. Winter Soldier's fast-paced, hand-to-hand combat is still praised to this day as the MCU's best, while Civil War was a dazzling display of hero-on-hero violence. With this being the cinematic introduction of Sam Wilson's Captain America, if the movie doesn't at least meet the very high bar they set, it's gonna be a bad look. So Marvel did the right thing and delayed the film so they could put more time and effort into making these action scenes work. Their first step was to bring back James Young, the stunt coordinator behind movies like Infinity War, Endgame, and of course, both Winter Soldier and Civil War. It's a smart move to bring back the guy who set the bar in the first place and a very good sign of things to come for the action in this film. And if the trailer is anything to go by, he cooked. Now, that's
true. Some of the action looks a lot better. I also am really interested, and like, I don't know that he'll touch on this in this video. By the way, I already think this dude's wrong. Like, just from some of the stuff that he said, I'm like, nah, I know that to not be true. But I'm going to let him cook, and we'll break it down as it comes out. But I'm interested in if the Russos had anything to do with bringing that other person back on. Remember that before the Hollywood trades scooped that the Russo brothers were back for Endgame, or for rather Doomsday and Secret Wars, remember that they being producers on Captain America Brave New World, that broke several months before the official leaks. So it's kind of weird because at the time when the Russos got a producer credit on Captain America, and that broke through channels like Production Weekly, I was immediately like, wow, that's really interesting. I wonder if they're back in some big capacity here, right? So I wonder if anybody will ever unravel that mystery. Like, did they bring the Russos back initially? Did they bring the Russos back late in the game? What's up with that producer credit?
Finally circle back around to the reshoots needed to strengthen this film. Marvel scheduled 22 days going into the summer of 2024. And that's it. No, seriously, that's all they've done. Throughout the entire...
No, that's not true. That's just literally not true. That we know that that's not true, okay? Now, was it ever officially put out there by Marvel? Absolutely not. But you're not even bringing up official reports either. You're talking about the Hollywood trades, and you're not dating the articles of when you're talking about the Hollywood trades. So we know for sure that that's not true. We know, I believe there's been at least 2 rounds of reshoots, and I think there have been 3 rounds of reshoots. Because I cover this incredibly closely. Like, this dude took a week to research. I do this every day of my fucking life for years. And I've been covering this movie for years. So I know for sure there's been at least 2 rounds of reshoots. And I believe there have been 3 rounds of reshoots. And in fact, I think an insider said, like, guys, Sam Wilson was doing pickups in LA the day after D23 or CCXP in Brazil. So if it was 22 days of reshoots and that's all, why is Sam Wilson doing pickups after CCXP in November or December of last year? Why is Giancarlo talking about being brought into the MCU, shooting for 2 weeks, and then having him be seen in the first trailer for this film? And why did Giancarlo say he's going back to do more reshoots? Does this guy think that Giancarlo Esposito is a liar? This dude is literally lying.
Process of making this movie, there have only been 22 days of reshoots to rework
verifiably false.
The action scenes only in this film. This included the introduction of Giancarlo Esposito as Sidewinder in the film, as they cut the original Serpent Society sequences and replaced them with his character. It is so hard to say Serpent Society I've done so many takes of this, I'm going insane. So now you're probably left wondering how the narrative surrounding the film became multiple rounds of extensive reshoots, and that's exactly how I felt. I was completely confused trying to figure out how the exact opposite could become the consensus, so I did some digging.
In your digging, did you see Sam Wilson shooting after CCXP last year? Well outside of the window of the 22 days of reshoots. Did you see that?
As it turns out, it all traces back to a rumor from the ever-unreliable Jeff Snyder. On the same day
The ever-unreliable Jeff Snyder? All right, I'm going to stop watching this video. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. It's unfortunate, because a lot of people sent me this video, and I was very willing to give it a fair shake and be like, yo, maybe there is some misinformation out there. Maybe there is stuff that got wrapped up in narrative and we're being too cruel towards this film. But like, if this is an example of the people that are trying to correct the narrative, like, I'm just literally going to throw in the towel, because I can't watch what I know to be false. I can't watch some young kid, after doing a week of reshoots, try to claim that Jeff Snyder, trade reporter for like 20 years in the business, that is connected in ways that like we would, like, this fucking kid is like the ever unreliable Jeff Snyder. Have you seen how much of the news cycle for the past 2 years were either directly a result of Jeff's news or the result of the trades stealing Jeff's news? Who the fuck is this kid, dude? Like, I'm sorry, man. I'm trying not to be rude. You're mistaken. And the fact that you represent a voice of trying to defend this movie is going to end up backfiring in a big, big way. You better hope this video doesn't actually blow up anymore, because as soon as you start pissing off the actual trade reporters that make a living scooping this shit, or the different scoopers and insiders that actually know what's going on, like, bro, the clapback to this could be super severe. So that's going to do it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Holy, I don't know what I expected. I don't know what I expected, but damn, I'm disappointed. Like, that's sad, man. Shit, man, this is why I don't like to react to people's videos, My God. My God. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I thought today was a pretty good stream. I had a good time. I felt like I was able to get my feelings out there a little bit. Be a little flagrant, a little entertaining, a little spice on it. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time, your attention. Thank you for being here. If you want to support the channel, smash a goddamn like on this video. Maybe give it a share. Share it out to some other people. Go check out the Clips channel, where I will be dropping the different segments from today's show and all of our shows later on in the day. Go support the main Den of Nerds channel, where I'm going to continue to put out really cool videos with actual information and not just feelings and opinions. Consider becoming a member to the greatest community on the internet, the Nerd Vengers, where every single week we go behind the paywall, behind the closed doors of the ivory tower known as Nerd Vengers Tower. And we get real sweaty nerdy together. Let me finish up with some of these chats and then we're going to get on out of here. Man, I'm disappointed. Jay Firth says, I played Warhammer growing up. I was the rats. Oh my God. So that's literally like old war, huh? I love your enthusiasm for it, though. We're all here for you, so keep doing what you enjoy. Much love. Diamond G says, Josh, this Cap 4 dude is licking boots. I mean, he's just wrong. Like, he's just wrong. The Exodus says, this video is what toxic positivity looks like. I think it's actually more sinister than that. Because this is a dude claiming, like, it's just crazy, dude. Like, imagine making a video titled The Rampant Misinformation Sounding Captain America, and you do 1 week of reshoots. You're literally verifiably wrong within the first minute. And then the first main point that you want to say is that a trade reporter with 20 years of experience that has dominated the news cycle for the past 2 years is ever unreliable and the source of all of this misinformation. Like, that, you deserve shame. I'm not going to do it for you. I don't want to perpetuate it. I'm going to be chill about this, at least as chill as I can. Like, yo, you're not just wrong. You're dangerously wrong. Dangerously wrong. Victor says, yo, Josh, how were your burnt pancakes this morning? They were pretty chill. They were pretty good. I'm also going to tell my wife that you were making fun of her pancakes. So I hope you're ready for that. All right, everybody. I'm going to chill for like just a couple of minutes. What's up? Let me know your thoughts, comments, questions. What's going on? Then we're going to get on out of here. You could have, at the very least, listened to what he said and break apart his points. It's only fair. I did that for like 2 to 3 minutes. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And he is not worth doing it for another second. I mean, look, two things I can tell you right away. We have actual set photos of reshoots past the 22-day weekend that he's talking about. Number one, that's just like, that's actually real. Set photos. What does he think? That we made those up with the AI? And then the fact that he's besmirching Jeff is insane, bro. Like, the dude is wrong. He's just wrong. I don't need to watch anymore. He's wrong. Yeah. Maybe you don't understand what it is to be wrong. Maybe you don't understand what facts are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Should I really listen to 15 more minutes of Goobly Glob? That's crazy. Check the Discord response instead of continuing to talk about that mid-video. What Discord response? I don't know. Y'all are pretty wild. Oh yeah, Daisy Ridley's gets a movie, gets a writer. Who gives a shit? Holy, dude. We really want to Star Wars? We really want to do that today? You want to jump into that? My God. All right, everybody. Trust that Josh knows what it feels like to be wrong. Every once in a while, Adam. Every once in a while. And it does sting a little bit. You know what I mean? But to my credit, and I do deserve a lot of credit, maybe the most credit. To my credit, I'm actually pretty good about admitting when I'm wrong. And I actually do tend to do reflection. And sometimes I will show up the next day or maybe, a couple of days later. And I'll be like, you know what? I was a little wild for that. This, that, second, and the third. I always try to keep it authentic. Parker Thwip says, I think Warhammer booty cheeks. And I'm about to dive face first into it. My man. My man. I'm in the car for 4 more hours. Let's do Star Wars. It kind of sounds like you're saying, I have 4 more hours. I would like to make it feel like 18 hours. Let's talk about Star Wars. No, thank you. I'm good. Joshua says, how do I get into the Diamond Lounge? I didn't have access. It's via the Discord now. So you gotta get on the Discord. And they should be able to walk you through that. They should be able to walk you through that. All right, everybody. Much love, man. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, Victor Von Doom, it might be right. I don't know. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Oh, you messaged me something directly? Hey, some Scarlet Witch mods for Marvel Rivals. This doesn't look safe for work. Maybe I'll check that out after the stream ends, if you know what I'm saying. All right, everybody. Much love, man. Truly, I appreciate your time, attention today. Thank you so much. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to all the other channels, watch all the videos, buy 16 boxes of Factor. We got a coupon code for that. Go check out the other videos. Appreciate you. Much love. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Oh man, that was a good one. I felt good the entire time. I could feel it in my plums. Plump with a bluish hue. Ready to take him to the farmer's market. Feel it deep down in my plums. It was a good one, man. I hope you were entertained. I hope you had a good time. We got a lot of nerd vengeance to do in this year of our Lord 2025. It's gonna get juicy. Juicy like a plum. With a nice bluish hue. Ready to take them to the farmer's market, you know. You missed my last chat? Hey, look, I think I saw it. Hit me up on Discord, man. I think what you need to do is link your Discord account to your YouTube account. Otherwise, you can't get access to that. Because it has to know you're a YouTube member or something like that, I think. But, yeah, hit me up. We'll try to figure it out. We won't do another Diamond Lounge till, like, the end of next month. Maybe even push it to the next month. I don't know. I mean, seems like you guys don't even really like those streams anyway. We don't got to keep doing them. So, you know, it's kind of like my plums. The bluish hue. Now remember, open up your third eye and wash out your stinky butt hole. What the hell's that song, man? Play me out on something different. No, man. Play, yeah, that one. I like that one. All right, everybody. Peace out.